Ready when you are.
All right, so I'm here to talk about the Declaration of Conscience by Margaret Chase Smith. So who has all seen Making a Murderer? It's great, isn't it?
So good.
So it aired in December 2015 on Netflix, and is it interesting because it's about crime, the life of a supposed alleged criminal, or is it because there's political corruption in it? I believe that it's political corruption. Margaret Chase Smith says about corruption in the politics is result in national suicide and the end of everything that Americans hold dear. That's what our government can do to us. So in the next few moments I'll be talking about who Margaret Chase Smith was and a little bit about her, the content of her speech, the context and the impact it had across America. Margaret Chase Smith was born December 14th, 1897 and died May 29th, 1995. So she was about 98 years old, pretty old. She was married to Clyde Smith, and also she was born, raised, grew up, and died in the exact same town. So no moving around. It's kind of interesting. She was married to Clyde Smith in 1930. She and Clyde were also big parts of the Republican Party. After Clyde Smith died, he was part of the Congress. She actually succeeded him and took over his position in the Senate. So there was a lot of Congress involvement within their marriage and the Republican Party and so on. So she worked for the Independent Reporter newspaper in Maine in 1919. She was very involved with the community. She was the founder of the Business and Professional Women's Club in 1922. Again, married Clyde Smith in 1930, and Smith was also the owner of the Independent Reporter. So she worked for him, they got married, and there was about a 21 age difference between the two. So when she was about 33, he was 54, and they got married. So I think what makes this speech strong is there's a lot of anaphories, a lot of repetitions showing that she speaks as a Republican, she speaks as a woman, she speaks as a United States Senator, and she speaks as an American, which all of those are very big parts of her life is who defines her. So those are the very strong hitting points. And also she mentions the basic principles of Americanism. The right to criticize, the right to hold unpopular beliefs, the right to protest, and the right to independent thoughts, as we all think are great things that we have as Americans, but they can also be very bad within the political system and in society. So the content of her speech is that she's actually kind of low-key speaking out against Joseph McCarthy, who, as you all know, the 1950s witch hunt trials, communism, all that good stuff. And she mentions that it's high time for the United States to do some real soul searching, in which we are using or abusing our individual powers and privileges. It's high time we remember that we have sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution. And that's when she's calling out Joseph McCarthy, what he has kind of done wrong against the government and society, of accusing people when he was also kind of involved in communistic stuff. The context is, so Joseph McCarthy gave his Wheeling speech in February 9th of 1950, and she gave her speech after that on June 1st in 1950 in response to his speech. She speaks to the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the President as to all the things going wrong, and she basically calls action to the government and America as these things are wrong, what we need to do to fix them. And here's a cartoon of, that's actually Joseph McCarthy hiding behind his little puppet guy, and it says like communism or something, and she's the actual one with the sword kind of stabbing at him. So the impact it had, it opened the eyes of the citizens. She realized, or American citizens realized what was going wrong. They didn't really see as to the full extent as she explained. She says, yet to place it with the regime embracing a philosophy that lacks political integrity or intellectual honesty would prove equally disastrous to the nation. So she is very strong in integrity and honor to this country and what we need to do to fix it, whereas it wasn't really like that at the time. And so in the end, it brought attention to the Americans of what was wrong, what needed to happen. She gives a good balance between corruption and integrity of what's happening and how we can fix it. And the interest in the nation at the time was the political exploitation, and it caught the nation's eye and really held that captor. And she explains the right way is not always the popular and easy way. Standing for right when it's unpopular is true and best of moral character. That is what she fully believed in and what she described to the nation as what needs to happen.